Mr. Speaker, it is almost as if the majority would prefer to go into the final stretch of the election season with fresh reminders of how dysfunctional things have become. No action on common sense gun control measure, no actions on immigration or climate change, no action on the Zika virus taking a huge toll in the United States and Puerto Rico and is posed to take an even bigger one. Congress is still in denial that Zika is a real threat and that the next generation of children could be exposed to the disease with dangerous and debilitating birth defects. It is hard for me to articulate this out loud, but in just a few weeks, the first group of children born with brain development and physical problems associated with disease will be born in Puerto Rico. We are looking at more than 15,000 reported cases of Zika in Puerto Rico and more than 2,000 pregnant women. And at the current pace, Zika will infect a quarter of the island in the next year. This is the first mosquito-borne disease that successfully infects children in the womb through the placenta. It can be sexually transmitted. Humans give Zika to mosquitoes and then go on to infect other humans. And Congress has the same response it has to almost everything: nothing. In this case, nothing flavored with a little partisan posturing over abortion in an election year. The issue for some people seems to be that we can fund research, prevention, and treatment as long as one of the most important, proven, and effective health care delivery mechanisms for women is excluded, because Planned Parenthood is on the Republican hit list. No matter that funding Planned Parenthood in Puerto Rico or anywhere else would be the prudent use of federal funds if our goal is to prevent the spread of disease and prevent, that is, prevent, not terminate, unwanted pregnancies during this crisis. Politics and elections always seem to trump good, sensible policies. So nothing yet from Congress, despite the pleas from the Obama administration, the CDC, and the American people. But Congress is not the only place in denial about Zika. Having spent time talking to people on the island of Puerto Rico, the people are also complacent about this disease and the impact it will have. Many suspect that it's all hype from Washington, yet another crisis to give the United States more control over the island of Puerto Rico. Given the island's history, the point of view is not unreasonable. The Congress just appointed an unelected control board, or junta, to take control of the island government and finances. For decades, the United States used Puerto Rico, and especially the island of Vieques, for target practice for our military. And for more than a decade, the United States has been denying the health and environmental impact of that bombing, including cancer and other diseases that people on the island know are real because their relatives are dying. And back to my Mother's Day in the 50s and the 60s, the family planning that came from the United States was forced sterilization. So I understand why people are skeptical when, so far, it has been hard to demonstrate the consequences of the Zika virus and how it could make life any worse than it already is. But again, in just a few weeks, when we see children born with mental and physical impairments, it will become clear that Zika is real. Puerto Rico must rise to the challenge presented by Zika and bridge the deep ocean of distrust between the Puerto Rican people and the United States. That's why I spend a lot of my time over the past month meeting with public health experts, doctors, scientists, and every one of them was Puerto Rican, not people sent from the U.S. Puerto Rico needs an integrated, comprehensive mosquito vector control center that Puerto Ricans are coming together to discuss so it can be created quickly. This is the mosquito tracking eradication that is deployed when a disease is detected, so that resources can be concentrated on a neighborhood or city if an infectious disease like Zika is present. You saw it work in Miami. Puerto Rico does not have access to contraception that you would expect in the 21st century. But Puerto Rican doctors, gynecologists, scientists, and experts are also strategizing how to make modern, effective, reversible family planning more widely available so that women can delay pregnancies. But while Puerto Ricans can drive the process of addressing Zika in Puerto Rico, and this will lead to much greater acceptance of those strategies by Puerto Rican people and greater success in the long run, that does not get Congress off the hook. Puerto Rico, like the United States, needs this Congress to fund the President's request for funding and also for the federal government to do its job. In Puerto Rico, this includes the Environmental Protection Agency addressing toxic landfills that dot the island, which are breeding grounds for mosquitoes, but have been overlooked by the EPA. Congress, a generation of children in Puerto Rico and all over the United States is counting on the U.S. Congress to protect them from the Zika virus, and I hope this Congress puts politics aside and rises to the occasion. They are American citizens on the island of Puerto Rico. They will be coming to the United States when they need the health care. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the op-ed piece I wrote for the Hill newspaper yesterday on Zika and Puerto Rico be included in the record.
So moved.